think of pauses as a strategic tool. They're not filler. They're not just because you forgot. They are essential moments to sustain engagement and give your case the clarity they need. Welcome to the Foster Your Voice podcast with me, Christy Foster. After a 30-year career in music and theater, I never imagined I'd be coaching trial attorneys. But once I entered your world, I quickly realized how critical and underutilized voice is in the courtroom. The truth is, you don't win trials with brute strength. You win with your voice. I'll give you tools to unlock your voice so you can communicate not just with purpose, but on purpose. If you want quick action tips to help you stay calm and in control, keep jurors engaged, and inspire your listeners to action, all through the power of your voice, you're in the right place. I'm Christy Foster, and I'm here to help you foster your voice. Hello, Foster fam. Welcome to another episode of the Foster Your Voice podcast. I'm, of course, your host, Christy Foster. And I can't believe we're already into December now. We're zeroing in on year's end. I started this podcast in January of this year because I wanted to have a platform for allowing a little longer form for teaching and encouraging. And I still love social media and I'm posting daily content over there. But there are some time limitations and we had longer things to discuss and we needed that to happen. So thank you for coming along on this journey with me. And if you've been listening all along or are just jumping in, you're welcome here. And I claim you as part of the Foster fam. So that we can continue to welcome new folks into the fam, please leave a 5-star rating on your podcast platform. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, please write a brief review as well. It only takes a couple minutes, but it goes a long way in helping others find me and just encouraging me as I look towards season 2 in 2026. Now, before we dive into the topic of how to give your jurors a fighting chance in the courtroom, I first briefly want to touch on something I've heard quite a few clients talking about recently. As I did some Zoom calls and conducted some interviews with trial attorneys, I began asking how they wanted to be perceived by jurors. And every single one said that they wanted the jury to see them as authentic, sincerely seeking justice, and authentically interested in connecting and engaging. So this concept of authenticity is swirling around a bit. Because of this, I found the words of neural reset specialist Kyle Cox rather insightful. He challenges that the reason you feel like you're being fake or putting on pretense when you actually take strides to be real and authentic, that's because you've conditioned yourself to be in performance mode all the time, to the point that that has become your new normal, and anything different from that performance feels false. And I think unintentionally, there's a layer of performance that's really easy to adopt as a trial attorney or any kind of front-facing communicator. It's a safety mechanism. You read the room, you make spot adjustments and say what folks need to hear in order to move your professional persona or even your case forward. It makes a lot of sense. And I think it happens in a lot of professions, actually. But you've gotten so good at it that now you have to actually try to be authentic, and that can feel fake. It's not that you're an imposter. It's that you're just coming to terms with your true self and are trying to create safety for that truer version of yourself to express and to thrive. Now, I think this is something for all of us to just check in with from time to time. It might not resonate now, but it might down the road, or it might again down the road. So check out Kyle Cox's profile. He's at Kyle Inspires One, the number one, and give him a follow if neural reset protocols are as interesting to you as they are to me. I've really valued what he's offering. I'll put the link to his particular reel in the show notes. Hey, real quick, if your jurors look confused when you say liability, standard of care, or damages, they're not tuning out because they don't care. They're tuning out because they don't speak law. I've put together a free guide called Top 20 Legal Terms to Avoid and What to Say Instead. It'll help you simplify your language without losing credibility, so your message actually lands. Download it now at fostervoicestudio.com/top20 or click the link in the show notes. All right, back to the episode. Every attorney knows that moment in a CLE when, no matter how good the presenter is, your brain just it stops braining. It has hit a limit. No matter how great the presentation is, or how pertinent the information, or even how eager you are to hear from a speaker, at a certain point, you just mentally can't process anymore. You've hit your cognitive load. We've all had the casual conversations around the coffee bar during a planned break in the programming, right? That was great, wasn't it? Yeah, man, I could use a nap though. I feel like I've been drinking from a fire hose. I know, right? Great stuff though. Okay, we've all had those conversations and we're just hoping for the coffee to kick in. And that's when you're loving the material, when you're fully invested, when you've paid to be there, when you're having a great reunion and bonding with your colleagues, and you're ready to be refueled and get right back to your notepad and get a comfy chair next to your haven't seen since TLU bestie for a great afternoon of continued learning. The coffee break is over and you're just feeling a little recharged. I mean, that's best case scenario. But how much more so is that coffee break a lifeline when you aren't loving the material? Mentally, you are desperate for a break, some kind of reprieve or distraction to let your brain detach from the teaching and just recalibrate. Now, imagine feeling like you're drinking from a fire hose, but you can't look away. You can't move. You can't break eye contact, and you can't check out. That's the jury's reality. When they hit fatigue levels, they can't just excuse themselves to hit the restroom quick and quietly get a snack and stand in the back and stretch a bit while the presentation continues. No, they just have to deal with it. Sure, the court does try to be mindful, and there are planned breaks in the action, but even their breaks aren't real breaks. They are social tightropes. Breaks in the jury room just create a different kind of action mentally and emotionally to navigate. Being with total strangers, not allowed to talk about the trial. So they're either quiet and socially awkward, or they make idle chit chat with juror number 4 and never get to refuel their mental, emotional, and social tank before it's time to go back in. It's a lot for them to be coping with. And then trying to rise above and serve with integrity and care. I mean, it's exhausting. That's why I want to suggest that you help them. You can embed some moments of reprieve, and you should. You can't offer them random coffee breaks or snacks, but you can plan for intentional pauses during your presentation to allow them to process and regroup. A moment of silence after a key point gives them time to not only absorb its significance, but also check out and recalibrate. These micro pauses lower cognitive load and help the brain consolidate information, especially complex legal information. Those moments when you're setting up your flip chart or getting your text squared away, bliss. But you can ruin it though. You can make it even more taxing on them by being awkward about it, by showing your nerves or apologizing and fumbling around or showing your exasperation. That makes them have to hold space and energy for you. It makes them caretake for you, spending their emotional currency to subliminally send you the message of, it's okay, buddy, take a beat, you're okay. You can almost feel the room leaning forward with that collective polite smile energy, hoping that you're okay. Ugh. You want to be perceived as taking care of them, not them having to manage you. So just relax. Take the time you need to get your props and your technology sorted. Take comfort knowing that your ease in those unpolished moments are actually providing them with a little bit of brain rest. Even if it's just a moment, it can be a gift to them. Now, I've recently watched a trial on Courtroom View Network, which, if you're not familiar with them, they record gavel to gavel trial proceedings and have them on a searchable database so you can go back and watch trials that have happened, or in some instances, you can even watch live. It's a subscription service, but even just getting on their mailing list and getting their email or blog is really informative and helps kind of keep a pulse on what's happening across the nation in courtrooms across the nation. I'm not sponsored by them. I just have enjoyed watching some of their coverage. So I was just watching a trial recently, an opening statement, and I saw the attorney do something in opening that really helped me relax. And I was just an observer. I wasn't on the jury. I was just watching in the comfort of my living room. So what he did was he encouraged them to write. Now, of course, the jury has a notepad that's provided for their convenience, but it's totally up to them whether they use it or not. This attorney had them get out their notebooks to specifically write down the acronyms he would be using throughout trial, along with a few federal law references. Now, I maybe would have liked some different instruction, but the moment of everyone getting out the materials, then collectively writing some things down that may or may not be helpful to their learning style later on, well, that gave the jurors' brains just a second to turn inward, detach from the situation, do something they had control over, and gave them an emotional reset. Not to mention the learning strategy and the efficacy of retention when we physically write something. I thought it was brilliant. Brilliant. I don't suspect that the attorney had their cognitive load in mind. I think he just sincerely wanted them to remember things and thought writing it down would be helpful. But I immediately noticed my cognitive response and how I took a deep breath, had a recalibration moment. And in that moment, every juror got to retreat inward, even if just for 10 seconds. That internal shift is unbelievably regulating. Now, another thing I want to encourage you to do is inject light, appropriate moments of humor whenever you can. Now, don't suddenly become a stand-up comedian or make jokes, but inserting just a little levity when something strikes you as funny, or sharing a relatable anecdote that prompts a little smile. This just shows your humanity and gives them a minute to refresh their attention. Light humor is a quick smile. It's not a punchline. So think relatable moment, not open mic night, okay? Now, if you want jurors to stay attentive throughout your opening and really throughout the entire trial process, you have to build in these breaks to reset mental energy. I know any kind of pause to you feels like an eternity, and you fill it with all kinds of stories of they're going to think I don't know what I'm talking about. That's not the case. Please know that as a juror, we are desperate for those pauses. Research shows that listeners retain more when the speaker allows 2 to 3 seconds for processing breaks between any major ideas. It's you that needs to change your mindset around them, to reframe them and then lean into them. Think of pauses as a strategic tool. They're not filler. They're not just because you forgot. They are essential moments to sustain engagement and give your case the clarity they need. Now, I've done several episodes about the power of the pause. So if you want to go deeper or just want to refresh and review, go back and listen to episode 25. It's called What Jurors Really Need from You: Time. And share that episode and this episode with your trial team so that you can have it top of mind as you're prepping for your upcoming trial. Get strategic, incorporate breaks. For everyone's sake, you need it too. Remember, clarity doesn't just come from what you say. It comes from how well jurors can rest long enough to hear it. Until next time, keep fostering your voice. Thanks for pulling up a seat with me today and for being part of the Foster fam. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, go ahead and leave a review or a comment so I can give you a shout out on a future episode. During the week, you can find me on Instagram at Foster Voice Studio, where I'm dropping little nuggets of vocal technique and leadership wisdom. You can also join my mailing list by visiting fostervoicestudio.com or by clicking the link in the show notes. I'll send a weekly vocal tip every Tuesday directly to your inbox. Until then, keep fostering your voice.